Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Friday and it's time for that Friday night video. And tonight I'm going to be doing a bit of a rant. It's not going to be an old school rant, but it is going to be a little bit of a rant about something that annoys the hell out of me. And I've seen it happen over and over again. I spoke about this on the channel about 2 years ago. I'm speaking about it again now. And I'm going to be talking about the attitude that the Magic community have to children's entertainers. It drives me nuts. It drives me insane. I hate it. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I want to start off by saying that I love children's entertainment. I run a company called Non-Stop Kids Entertainment. We supply entertainers to events all over the UK. And I'm very proud, and I think I'm announcing this for the first time here, I'm very proud to be booked to lecture at Tricks in the Sticks 2023. Now, Tricks in the Sticks is, one of the, if not the biggest convention in Europe, really, for children's entertainers. It's exclusively for children's entertainers, and it's got a great reputation, and I'm super proud of the fact that I've been booked to do that. But I've got a lot of experience of performing magic for children. In fact, as much experience performing magic for children as I have performing magic for adults and close-up and stage and so on and so forth. In fact, I remember starting really, when I first started to actually start doing this professionally, it was primarily as a children's entertainer. I'd go out and do maybe 7 or 8 kid shows a week, and then I'd have like one close-up job. And over time, that changed, but I'm still performing kid shows even now. In fact, I've got one this weekend. So I love performing magic for kids. I really do. And what I see online and what really drives me insane is there seems to be, and it's not everybody, I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush, but this does happen. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've seen this happen. You've seen it happen online, on social media, in magic forums. There is a percentage of the magic community that look down on kids entertainers, thinking they're second rate, thinking they're scum, because they go out and they perform for children, and so they're not real magicians. I've seen it happen. I've seen this egotistical, arrogant attitude. And it's fine if you don't want to do kids shows. It's difficult. I get that. Not everybody wants to be a kids entertainer. I personally think any magician would actually learn something from being a kids entertainer, and I can talk about why later on. But I can understand if you don't want to do kids entertainment. It's a difficult thing to do. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. However, why would you look down on someone that's chosen to do that? Why would you? And I'll give you a couple of examples of what I've seen recently. First of all, I saw a thread online on a Facebook group where somebody went on for advice, and they were like, hey, I've been doing magic for a little while. I've got a kid show. Somebody's booked me to do a kid show, and I don't really know what to do. Can you give me some advice? It's in about 6 months, so I'm giving myself a lot of lead time. I want to do the best possible job I can do. And there's so many people made up of semi-pros and pros and amateurs and hobbyists that jumped on, and they were like, don't do it. Don't be a kid's entertainer. Don't be a glorified clown. Don't do it. Oh, think about your integrity. You're throwing away your integrity for respect yourself. Don't go and do that. And I was looking at these comments, and, I don't really swear on the rants anymore. And if you find swearing offensive, then put your fingers in your ears. But I was thinking, who the fuck do you think you are? Who in the hell do you think you are to slag off children's entertainers so much, when most children's entertainers, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you a fact about kids entertainers. Most kids entertainers are massively more entertaining and have a command over an audience than your average close-up magician. A lot of close-up magicians, not everybody, as I say, I'm not painting everyone with the same brush, but a lot of close-up magicians are, and let's just call a spade, shit. They just really are. I see close-up magicians who are just terrible. They go out to a gig. They have no idea how to be entertaining. They have no idea how to be engaging. They walk up to a group of people and they mumble, "Oh, I'm going to show you a magic trick." And then they do a trick ham-fistedly, doing it absolutely terribly. And that causes more damage to magic than a kids entertainer going out and performing for children. Because there are so many terrible close-up magicians, and yet they're the ones that will turn around to kids entertainers and go, oh, we're so much better than you because we perform to real people. We do close-up magic. We're skilled. Most kids entertainers have more skills and can have a better command of an audience than any close-up magician. Here's the thing. Here's a cold, hard fact. If you are a close-up magician and you look down on kids entertainers, and I've said, like I say, I've seen it happen all the time. If you're one of those people that do that, yeah, you need to understand something. Close-up magic is easy. I'm sorry, I've said it, and if you disagree with me, fine. But here's the thing. It is not difficult to learn how to be a close-up magician. All you have to do is have a little bit of charisma, a little bit of an ounce about you, and the ability to actually win friends and influence people. And the rest of it is not hard at all. You can go out and do an amazing job. Look at the matchamentary, right? You're about to see episode 4 on Friday. I'll tell you what happens in episode 4 on Friday. I take Matt out, who, bearing in mind, barely knows 3 or 4 tricks. I take Matt out to Smoke and Mirrors in Bristol, and I have him perform. And you know what? He absolutely smashes it out of the park with almost no repertoire and almost no sleight of hand skill, no ability when it comes to magic, but he has a way about him because he knows how to actually carry himself off and he knows how to actually stand up and speak to people. He goes out and he absolutely smashes it and probably does a better job than 50% of close-up magicians I've seen, period. It is not difficult to be a close-up magician. You can go and buy a book, learn 5 or 6 tricks, and go out and do the job and do a half-decent job. And the other thing about close-up magic is if you go and do close-up magic and you suck at it, like so many close-up magicians do, if you go out and suck at it, here's the thing, the audiences will probably be polite. They'll probably go, oh, that was nice. And they'll tell you, they'll talk amongst themselves afterwards about how crap you were. But they'll be polite because that's how most normal people in society are. They're polite. You can kid yourself into thinking that you're good when you're absolutely not. That never happens. That never ever happens with kids entertainers. Because here's the thing, when you're performing for kids, they will be brutally honest. They will be brutal. They've got no filter. If they don't like you, if you are boring, if your tricks aren't interesting, if you can't engage with the audience, then what's going to happen is one of 2 things. Number 1, they will stand up and walk out. They will just walk off and they will start doing something else. They don't have any filter. They'll just go and pick up a ball or something and start playing with it because, frankly, that was the better option than watching you perform. Or they will sit there and they will tell you you're rubbish. That's what happens. Kids entertainers have to be good because if they're not good, everybody will tell because the kids will just literally walk away in droves. And that never happens with a close-up magician. That rarely happens with a stage magician. It happens more with stage magicians. You know, the audiences will turn on somebody on stage, but rarely. Most audiences are very polite. So you can be a real magician and you can kid yourself into thinking that you're good when in actual fact you're not. But you can't do that as a kids entertainer. And a kids entertainer, you know, I say kids entertainer, but most kids entertainers now are family entertainers. They do magic that will entertain the whole family, everybody in the room. The kids will be entertained. They have to entertain 2 and 3 year olds. They have to entertain 5 or 6 year olds. They have to entertain 9 and 10 year olds. They have to entertain teenagers. They have to entertain the adults at the back who are chatting to each other and they're using this as an opportunity to have a break from their kids. They have to do magic that will grab their attention as well. They have to be able to, and most kids entertainers, well, pretty much all of them that I know, they stand on stage and do this. But they're also able to go around and do close-up magic. So they have to have the ability to stand in front of people and perform. You take your average close-up magician and you put him on stage in front of 20 adults, he'll crumble and die. Because there's a massive world of difference between going and performing to 2 or 3 people in a group and performing to 10 to 15 people. on stage, or 20 people or 30 people on stage. There's a world of difference. But you take your average close-up magician and you put them in an audience in front of kids and tell them, right, you've got to entertain everybody. Those kids, those adults, everyone. You've got to entertain everybody for about 45 minutes. Go. They will crumble and die. They will crumble and die. But you take your average kids or family entertainer and you send them to a gig and say, right, you've got to do some close-up magic. They won't have a problem with it because they know how to be entertaining. And that's the key thing. When you're a kids entertainer, when you're a children's entertainer or a family entertainer, the most important word is entertainer, entertainment. The magic is used as a vehicle to entertain the children. Whilst most close-up magicians, they hide behind the magic. We've all seen that close-up magician that, like, is technically gifted and can do all the most wonderful moves in the world, but couldn't string a coherent sentence together if his life depended on it. And yet that's the person that looks down on kids entertainers because he can do a one-handed shuffle. Fuck off. Most kids entertainers, pretty much all kids entertainers I know, would be able to do a better job, even if they don't do close-up. Even if they've never done close-up in their life. If you took a kids entertainer and put them into a situation where they had to entertain a group of adults for 10 minutes in a walk-around situation, they would be able to do it, and I think they'd be able to do it successfully. You took your average close-up magician who's never performed on stage before, and you put them in a situation where they've got to entertain a bunch of kids, they will die on their arse. And I am sick and tired. I am absolutely fed up and sick and tired of people online slagging off kids entertainers like they're some second-class citizen. First of all, even if you believe that, you shouldn't say it. But second of all, those kids entertainers are better than you. If you're the person, I'm not, if you think I'm talking about you, I am. If you're the person that's been going out there on social media decrying kids entertainers, oh, they're just glorified clowns, oh, you can't really call yourself a magician, you know what? They probably get more done and they've probably got more happy customers than you have ever had in your entire life and your entire career. Grow the hell up. Drives me insane. And I'm sick of this attitude. I've got somebody who I know, and during the pandemic, this is a guy, I'm not going to name names, but this is a guy, I'm not friends with him, but I know him. This is a guy who boasted constantly, willy-waved all of the time before the pandemic. Did constant willy waving about how many close-up jobs he does and how much he gets paid. Oh, I'm on my second close-up job of the day. Oh, I've got 5 close-up jobs this weekend. Oh, I charge so much, and slagging off other people. I can't believe anybody would go out for experience. Oh, no, I would never do that. If you can't afford my fee, then I'm not going to go out for you. Or, no, I'd never bring myself down to the level of doing kids' parties. No, that would never happen. I'd never do kids' parties. This guy, right, the pandemic hit. Bearing in mind, this is a guy that's meant to be the most famous, successful magician of all time. About the week the pandemic and lockdown hit, he was moaning constantly, what am I going to do? I've got no money. I can't afford to do anything. Oh my God, how am I going to feed myself? I really don't know. Well, hang on a minute, Chuckles. If you were doing 15,000 fucking gigs like you said you were, surely you've got some savings. Surely it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Or, maybe it is. I don't know. And then 2 weeks later, he was delivering parcels for some company. While kids entertainers, a lot of kids entertainers were rolling the sleeves up and going, fuck it, let's get this online. We can carry on entertaining kids. We just do it online. He is still now a delivery driver, but he's still, and I spoke to him. And I spoke to him after because he was asking for some advice on something. And I spoke to him after the pandemic finished, because he went online and he was like, hey, I'm not getting as many gigs as I did before. What should I do? How can I get more gigs? And I don't know what happened, but for some reason, before the pandemic and after the pandemic, is that the amount of bookings he had was affected. And I said to him, why don't you go and do kid shows? He's like, I will never bring myself down to the level of a kids entertainer. I will never do kids shows. Well, you know what? Your average kids entertainer can go out in a weekend, make 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, £1,000 easy with one hand tied behind their back by just going out and doing what they love. While you are spending the entire week delivering parcels, you're telling everybody you hate doing this job. You hate it with a passion, and yet you're doing that in the week. and you're struggling to get gigs, but you're not prepared to do kids gigs because that is something that you don't want to do because you don't want to bring yourself down to that level. Now, I agree, when chips are down, you do what you need to do to survive. I've done that, absolutely, 100%. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But you really telling me that if the option was A, you go and perform for kids, and the option was B, you go and do this job that you hate, you're going to take that job because being a kids entertainer is that bad? And I said that to the guy, and the guy turned around to me and he said, yes, I could go and do it if I wanted to. It's in my skill set, but I don't want to bring myself down to their level. Now, screw you, man. You know who I'm talking about. You're listening to this. I know you goddamn listen to this, and I'm talking about you. That's just the worst attitude I've ever heard. This is it. This is the bottom line. This is what you guys need to know. Kids entertainers are incredible. And I'm not just saying that, I mean it. Kids entertainers are absolutely incredible, and they can run rings around people. And you know what? The state of magic would be in a much better place. It would be in a much healthier place if more close-up magicians learned how to do kids magic and learned how to entertain kids. I can't tell you the amount of gigs that I've been to where I've seen a magician, or I've spoken to a client and they've had a magician. It happened just last week. I was performing at the gig. It was a gig that I was at with Luch, and there was a family there, and there was a couple there, and they said, they've got kids at home, and they had a magician they saw a magician at a wedding a couple of months ago, and they said to me afterwards, they were chatting to me, and they said, the magician refused to perform for their kids because he said he doesn't do kids magic. He was booked to do tables in a wedding, and there was a table of kids, and he refused to go up to them because he doesn't do kids magic, and that's not what he does, and that's not what he's been booked to do. That attitude is disgusting. That attitude, you think the client would not want you to miss out that table, or not want you to do that table just because of how you feel? Absolutely ridiculous. If more close-up magicians learned how to be kids entertainers, first of all, I think they would learn how to project themselves, because the problem with close-up magicians is they're used to doing 2 or 3 people. I've seen those close-up magicians that go into a corporate setting, and there's like big tables of 10 or 15, and they do magic to 2 or 3 people, and the rest of the table aren't even paying attention. And it's like ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You need to perform to the whole table and grab everyone's attention. It's like, let me do my 3-card trick. Look. And nobody else is paying attention, and you're absolutely shit, mate. Here's the thing. If you were a kids entertainer, you would learn how to project yourself. You would learn how to perform to a whole group. Being a kids entertainer, if you're wanting to perform on stage, some of the best stage magicians I've seen started off as kids entertainers. Look at somebody like John Kimmo. John Kimmo is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's got an incredible show. Does Disney Cruise Liners all the time. Got an incredible show. Great kid show, great stage show, great adult show, great show. Same with Gary Dunn. Same with somebody like Dave Oakley. All of these people that are kids entertainers that can also go out and do stage magic to a really high level because of the experience they've had as a kids entertainer. Even now, when I'm putting a new trick in my show, I start off by putting it in my kids show, work it in my kids show, get all the kinks out, and then I put it into my stage show. But I'm digressing now. I'm going on to a different subject. The point of this video is think. Think. If you are a close-up magician, stop drinking your own Kool-Aid. Yeah, the problem, we all have egos. As performers, we have to have egos, right? The problem with magic is you'll have people, you go up to an event and you'll do an okay job, and you'll have people saying, oh my God, why aren't you on TV? Why aren't you on Britain's Got Talent? You're better than Dynamo. You're not fucking better than Dynamo. They've got no frame of reference. Your crappy little ambitious card that you did for them is not good enough to go on Britain's Got Talent. Trust me, it's not good enough to be better than Dynamo. Right? Stop drinking your own Kool-Aid. That's the problem. Close-up magicians think they're amazing because they get told they're amazing all the time. And there are some amazing close-up magicians. And again, I'm not saying this is everybody, but there is a percentage of people in the magic community that look down on kids entertainers and think that they are a second-class citizen because they don't do real magic. They're not a real entertainer. And for everybody who's ever thought that, for everyone who's ever said that, for everyone who's ever made their opinion known online that they think that kids entertainers aren't worth their salt, let me tell you right now, I would, if I was planning my dream show, I would make sure that I had a whole bunch of kids entertainers in there, because they are way more entertaining than you will ever be. And maybe if you spent as much time slagging them off online as you did working on your own act, maybe, just maybe, you would be further along in your career than you are. And maybe it's you're slagging these people off because you're not happy with where you are, and it's easier. I'm just sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. Kids entertainers are amazing. I am proud to be a kids entertainer. I am proud to stand here on camera in front of everybody and say, I perform for kids, I'm a kids entertainer, and I am proud of it. If you perform for kids and you're a kids entertainer, please let me know in the comments down below. At the same time, I want to know, are you proud to be a kids entertainer? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to know your thoughts. I'm going to be back again tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Well, bunch of videos happening tomorrow, so make sure you check them all out. Sorry for the old school style rant. At least there was hardly any swearing. I'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.